Everybody, in this quick video, I'm going to go through for one example SNP, all of the information that you're being asked to find in the Unit 4 project. We're going to start looking on Ensembl as like the first place to go because our project data is combining information from Ensembl's BioMart. This is going to be the place that for the vast majority of SNPs has the most information. If you run into an RSID that doesn't have everything here, the other websites in the assignment, dbSNP, OMEM, PubMed Central. These are other places that you can look. But for a lot of you, this is going to be the right place to get started. So I have started on the Ensembl page and I've added this little note. If you go to Canvas, you'll see an announcement with this direct link. Redirect No is going to make sure that we're on the main Ensembl page and not US East. I have been seeing a couple people have really slow loads of the US East mirror. And so this is just a nice way to make sure that we're on a faster version of the page. I'm going to look up an example from one of your projects. So RS 1005-3320. And when I do that, because that's a unique identifier, I don't have to specify that it's human. I can just type in the identifier and only one reference will come up in Ensembl. And it's going to open up this variant page that has everything we're looking for. I've also taken from the assignment, I've taken the list that's in the assignment so that I can have a place to put notes in Google Doc. And you can do this in Google Docs. You can do this in your Excel sheet that you uploaded for 414, or you can even do this in your final version if you're working on Canva or some other tool like PowerPoint. Wherever you're working, do it in the way that's the most organized for you. But I do recommend having like a place where you type all this information. So the first part is the RSID. That's what we did the search with. So that's really easy. If you want to, paste it plain text, that can also look nicer. So that's just Control-Shift-V. Chromosome, position, and gene. So we'll look up each of those things and we can see this is the location, right? So it's on chromosome 5 and we can click genes and regulating to get some context. It is in a gene. It's genes and regulation, but it is in it's in an intron. And so what we want to get the name of the gene and we want to get the physical position. So the name of the gene is CDH12. And the physical location of it is chromosome 5. Just highlight this. Chromosome 5, 22,657,317. So you can just highlight this, put this here. And one of the things you can do, and this pops up when you open up the location tab, is you can even have like an image like this. You can even click export this image as a way to like show where on the chromosome it's located. So you can see here that not only is it on chromosome 5, but it's on the P arm. So that's the second, bullet point. The next one is the genotype, right? So this is in your spreadsheet for 4.14, right? That's the information that we started the project with. And then the phenotype significance. You can go a lot of different places for this, but this phenotype link is going to be a good place to start because we found out that the SNP was related to the phenotype from BioMart. And we can see, okay, this phenotype data, this letter was associated with body composition when there's a variation in this gene with a p-value of 9.73 E-5. Whenever I see this, I know that there's probably an article where this was written about, where this p-value was described. And here it'll have a source of the information. Sometimes the source will go directly to a PubMed article, and sometimes it'll go to a database like this. So you can put in your phenotype significance and source, you can put dbGaP as the source. if that's what it says in the on Ensemble. So you can say body composition is altered with a p-value of 9.73 E-5 for individuals with, and we have to look here for like what's the associated allele, and it doesn't have an associated allele. So you can assume that it's the minor allele with variation at this position. Is like is probably the best way to phrase it, because the specified allele isn't there. And then the source, instead of a link to a paper, would be dbGaP. The database of genotypes and phenotypes, you could directly search it, but it is linked, it is limited to researchers. So you're not going to be able to necessarily find all of the information that's here without being able to log in. Once you have explored the phenotype context, you can also click on the population genetics part of this article, and you can get information about the last part, population genetics. What I really like about Ensembl is it shows this to you visually. So you can quickly see in a pie chart what percent of the population has G and what percent of the population has T. Sometimes for alleles, you'll see more letters listed than 2. But usually at most positions in the human genome, 2 are predominantly what you see. So there may be one individual in the world at this position who has a C, and it will say /C here, but you, for your final project, only need to report the 2 that are very common. You don't need to report the ultra rare alleles at any position. So that's all the information that you need for the project. I would actually, if I was doing this project, I wouldn't even type the information. I would just copy a picture of the pie chart and have that be what I submit for population genetics. So I hope this walkthrough helps you find anything that is missing for your SNPs. And I'm really looking forward to reading these reports and finding out about all the different variations in the human genome that are linked this year to different phenotypes.